Hey everybody, Therien here. Now if you're watching this video, obviously you want a better life for yourself. You want to be able to travel the world and visit beautiful tropical locations like this. So give me just 5 minutes of your time, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, to explain to you my story. Like most of you, I was stuck from paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, but I started very early. So let me share my story with you. My mom was the conservative one. You've probably heard of rich dad, poor dad, right? Well, my mom was the poor dad and my dad was the rich dad. What do I mean by that? Well, my mother came from a very conservative mindset. You know, get a good education, get a good job. So she either wanted me to be military or she wanted me to be in the health field. So that was my first internal struggle. I had a beautiful relationship with my mother. So in doing so, I wanted to make her happy. So I got a degree in the health field and I started working at a hospital in Ottawa, Canada. Long story short, right out of school, making $52,000 a year. In my mind, that was $100 a day, 7 days a week. And I was like, wow, that's okay. You know, after a few months, I started talking to my colleagues. Those colleagues at the hospital started becoming my friends. And little did I know, the ones that were ready to retire and had been there for 25 years, they were making $56,000 a year. Woohoo! Wow, great money, right? So I thought to myself, 25 years, 30 years, $4,000 raise. Thanks, but no thanks. So I started dabbling on the internet. Now, let me give you my humble opinion on where things are going. And we are in the biggest, most massive transition in the world. If you truly want to work from home, if you truly want the flexibility and the freedom, and you deserve more. You deserve more, your family deserves more, your kids deserve more. So I got started back in 1997 with absolutely zero education on how to build computers or any online business whatsoever. Sadly, because I was kind of ignorant and I was kind of stubborn, I didn't get myself surrounded around like-minded people. I was still stuck in, hey mom, what do you think of this idea? And because she was so conservative, any idea was a bad idea. So for the first 2 years online, I struggled. I didn't make a single penny. And here's the other stupid mistake that I made. My goal was to simply cover my mortgage. Now at that time, I was living in an 800 square foot townhouse. And so my mortgage was like $500–600 a month. That was my goal. Talk about a lofty, stupid, idiotic goal. So it took me 2 years. Then I finally started to get advice from the right people. I started hanging around with people who were already in the industry, people who were like-minded like me, people who wanted more for their families. And instead of taking my mom's advice, which was just a gut feeling, I started taking the advice of people who were where I wanted to be. There's a really good saying. If somebody's giving you advice and you wouldn't trade lifestyles with that person instantly, why wouldn't you take their advice? In other words, if you have a friend and he's making $250,000 a year, but he's working 80 hours a week as a car salesman, is that the type of life you want where you're married to your job? Or the opposite is true. You might have a friend who's living in a 600 square foot home, he's making maybe $300 a week, and he's gonna tell you it's a stupid idea. Are you gonna trade lifestyles with that person as well? No. The minute I started hanging around the right people at the right time, everything changed. I remember I made my first sale for $9.97, and I couldn't have been more excited. Now, most people go, $9.97, 2 years. Those were the coin-operated people who worked for others. Yeah, okay, I made 0.0001 cents per hour for 2 years. But for me, it was the happiest business day of my life because I knew it was finally possible. I knew living like this, living in paradise, traveling the world was possible. And here's why. All I needed to do was take that $9.97 and learn how to replicate it 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. That's all I needed to do. Sure enough, within 2 months, I was making $5,000 a month. That was a really good breakthrough as well because now I was making a real income. But guess what? It didn't stop there. Within 2 months more, I was making $20,000 per month. Now, That was back in 2002 when I truly started to make more money online than I could have made in any job whatsoever. So this is to impress upon you, not impress you. Since then, I've been on over 25 cruises, I've been on over 40 vacations, and this year alone, I've been traveling for about 8 months. Right now, I'm in a beautiful beach in Mexico. I've been to Egypt, I've been to San Diego, I've been to Miami, I've been to Canada, I've been all over the world. High school, sorry to tell you, is useless right now. College, sorry to tell you, is useless right now. Now, before you get angry with me, let me explain. When somebody goes to high school, that's great. It shows ambition, it shows dedication. When somebody goes to college, that's great. It shows ambition, it shows dedication. But here's the truth. By the time they graduate, everything that they've learned, because technology is moving so fast, is completely obsolete. Let's look at social media today. You're probably watching this video because of social media. Did you know that first of all, people are addicted to their phones. The average person today checks Instagram 150 times. The average person today on Facebook checks it 70 times. The average person today, even if they're working for somebody else, and they won't admit this to you, are spending over 4.5 hours on their phone every single day. Every single day. 4.5 hours on their mobile device, and they're addicted to it. What college degree is going to teach you how to live a lifestyle of freedom and how to monetize the internet so that you're making money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year? After 22 years of doing this, I've made over $250 million online. Now, here's where the profound, at least profound for me, happened. My oldest daughter is now 20. She was 14. And she started to recognize that I was the only guy that was dropping her off to school. I was the only guy that was picking her up. All my kids started to realize I was the only one going to the volleyball tournaments. I was the only one at the baseball and the football tournaments. I was the only parent that was reliably there all the time. They started to realize that their friends had to stay in after school. Why? Their parents were still working their jobs. So my daughter came to me one morning. She said, "Dad, what's school for?" And I said, "You know what it's for? It's so that you can get a good job." She looked at me at 14 years old and said, "What if I don't want a job?" And that was such a profound statement. Imagine the mindset that my kids have, because they now realize the flexibility and freedom of building a business online can do. It's absolutely incredible. So again, this isn't to impress you, it's to impress upon you that I absolutely started with nothing. I had no internet experience. All my education was in cardiac rehab. All my education was in the health industry. Yet, with a little bit of dedication, and the most important part, the reason why it took me 2 years, starting to surround myself with like-minded people who were going where I wanted to go, people who had real life experience, everything changed. I would love to help you build the lifestyle of your dreams. I've helped thousands of people around the world be able to work for themselves and be able to travel the world whenever they want to. It's a beautiful industry. It's a beautiful business. So listen, all I want you to do, so you can experience this turquoise blue, you can experience Egypt, you can experience picking up your kids from school, you can experience telling your wife or your husband you never have to work again. Whatever your why is, it doesn't matter. I want to help you get there because you deserve the perfect life. And I got to tell you, it's not easy, but it's been well worth it. I haven't had the answer to anybody but my client base for over 20 years. So listen, read the rest of this webpage, grab a fee account, check everything out, because if you want to live in paradise, if you want the freedom, if you want the flexibility, if you want to live the lifestyle that you know you deserve, then all you have to do is take a simple action in reading this webpage, create an account, and I'll see you on the inside.